You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level. Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Good day, good evening, good morning. Welcome. We are so thrilled to have you here. This is Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, fashion, fitness, travel, and leisure. I love this show because I get to get dressed up and put on my earrings, put on my red lipstick and my nail polish and talk about really fun things that mean a lot to me. And I am your host, producer, director, and broadcast engineer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. My co-host is with me in the house, Diann Floyd Boehm. Hello, Diann.
Hi, it's great to see you and be here.
Woo! I love this. And we're both in kind of the same color mode, pink and red.
So we are. And we never plan it.
No, we never do. But I do love this show because, you know, think about here on the East Coast, the United States, we have a gas shortage now. And there's, you know, COVID and breakthrough. People are getting the virus after they've been vaccinated. So let's talk about some fun things, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We've got a great guest with us, join us from the UK. We'll bring her out in just a moment. But before we do, Diann, I'm going to spotlight you. And why don't you tell us all about what you're doing and the value that you bring to this beautiful world?
Oh, I'll be happy to. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining our show. So I am a children's author, and I love to write books, to have your kids fall in love with themselves, to be kind to one another. And I like to talk about peace and hope and harmony. And today, though, we get to talk about how to stay healthy. I love this show. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn.
Thank you. Let's bring our guest out. Sophie, welcome to the program. It's so good to see you.
It's lovely to see you too and meet you guys.
Yes.
So nice. And by the way, before the show, we were talking we have some beautiful photographs, but this woman is doing it all. She's an actress, she's a model, she's an equestrian, and she's just got this great presence. I can just tell your posture, the way you carry yourself. You know, you've walked many a runway, so we're thrilled to have you here.
I'm thrilled to be here. I'm absolutely ecstatic.
So before we show some of your magnificent photographs and here's a little backstory about them, I'm going to spotlight you. And why don't you share with us, Sophie, what it is that you do and the value you're bringing to this beautiful world?
So I do a variety of different things. I do obviously modeling, acting. I've also started doing stunt riding with Steve Dent Stunts. I'm also an accountant, which is, a little bit different to the others. And I also buy and sell secondhand gaming items called Avatar Gaming. I do mostly, with my modeling, I do mostly runway because I'm 6'2" and designers tend to like my height for that, as well as the fact that I like wearing 6-inch heels, if not bigger, if I can find them. And acting, I'll do mostly anything up to a certain level. And I just like to try and be happy and try my best with everything.
Well, you look very happy, and certainly you have accomplished very much. Where is your true passion?
So I'd say my true passion is acting and modeling. And then I would go along the lines of equestrianism. I'm actually studying to take my stage 2 my BHS stage 2 lessons so I can teach. So I've got my ride on the 30th of June, which I'm a little nervous about, but I'll get there.
Have you always
That's hard work.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, so have you always loved horses?
Oh yeah, so I've been riding since I was about 2 years old. My mum would just kind of pop me on our 17-2 thoroughbred, going in and from the field, back and forth from the field, bareback, and just kind of going, just going to hold you up there, just sit up there for a bit. I've just always loved riding, and I've done some really, thinking back on it, stupid things.
We see you have a beautiful piece of artwork there with a horse, and then also a horse. What is that called? Sculpture.
Oh yeah, so that's actually. So I'm actually at work. I've just had a break. My boss has let me. She's amazing. She's let me have this time off to talk to you guys, which I'm so happy about. So yeah, that's one of our trophies that we have for our Winter League. That one is, and it gets given to the person who's accumulated the most points throughout the season.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you're at your accounting job right now?
No, so I'm at the Saddle Club.
The Saddle Club. Oh my goodness.
So I'm having the glorious task of being a groom for the day. Get to tack up all the horses.
You know, I have a friend who rides horses, and I was able to go to a couple of contests that she had entered. Mm-hmm. So my hat is off to you, because it is difficult work. People don't realize how much goes into just caring for a horse and knowing that the horse trusts you and loves you and so forth. And then being able to get to the stage of being able to do tricks and so forth, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the pictures I sent in was of me and Banjo, which is this tiny little 12-2. Yeah, that's him. So he's actually a rescue.
Beautiful.
And I'm actually just currently treating him for a sweet itch right there. But he is the cutest thing ever. Mm-hmm. Butter wouldn't melt, but he has a few attitude problems, but he's my favourite, even though obviously there's a bit of a height issue, so I can't actually ride him.
And Sophie, you mentioned that you're 6'2"?
Yes, I'm 6'2", which is 189 centimeters for those who aren't used to doing feet.
I'm 5'3". I feel so tiny.
Well, at least we're not in the same studio then.
You know, it's funny because of all the social media posting, we can't really see the bottom of anyone. We don't really know what it really looks like.
Right.
Yeah, you can just see my shoulders.
Yeah. I bet dresses are gorgeous on you, and pantsuits, etc. I bet people do love dressing you.
I hardly ever get to wear pantsuits.
Look at this.
But that was actually in New York.
Wow.
So that was New York Fashion Week, Couture Fashion Week, which is run by Andres Aquino. He is the most amazing guy ever. I met him when I went and modeled at Cannes Film Festival, because he runs the Global Short Film Awards ceremony over there, and there's a modeling over there. So that's how I met him. But that dress is actually designed by Gina Frias, who is from England.
Wow.
Absolutely stunning. I mean, you look magnificent. I would love to wear that dress.
It was
on your head, the headpiece that is handmade. Yeah. It looks just magnificent. Yeah.
And about 100 pins keeping it in.
So it wouldn't fall off.
What's it like to walk down the runway? Because I think I would just trip and fall on my face.
I have yet to do that. Touch wood. There have been a couple of times where I have stumbled because the dress has been a bit too long even for me and my 6-inch heels. I absolutely love it. I love going down. I love posing. I'd say I'm more of an extravagant poser than a kind of subtle poser. I like making big, elaborate poses and not sticking to the norm.
That's awesome that you have that freedom to do that. But I can't believe you can walk in those heels. That's amazing.
I've been walking in heels as soon as my mum let me, which was quite a while.
You know what? I would interject. So I have right now downstairs, I have heels that are 6 inches, and I used to have 7-inch heels. And then I think it was when I turned, I don't know what age, but I tripped and I fell and I cut up both of my knees and I think because of yoga I didn't break my ankle, but I thought, okay, I'm putting the 7-inch heels away. I'm done with those. So I still have the 6-inch heels, but you can't wear them anywhere right now here. Yeah. So but I
wear them in the studio. It's fine.
Yeah. Exactly. We do have some other magnificent pictures. How about this one?
Oh.
Okay, so that's a designer who is in Wales, who I've actually worked with. I used to I do kind of on and off style for him. So he is called, so that designer is called Gianni Salvatore, so G Salvatore. And that is his Assassin's tracksuit, which I love to bits. Obviously, it's probably one of my favorites of his collections. He's actually just brought out a leather jacket collection, which is also very nice. And I'm hoping I can kind of sneak one away from him.
Tell us about this sword. That was just for the photograph, I guess.
So I did an impromptu photo shoot because that's actually my tracksuit now. And I wanted to take some photos at home, and I had a friend who's a photographer who was getting into photography for modeling. And I said, well, let's have a little photo shoot. And I had the sword, and we just kind of went into a garage. So that's what they told me that.
And I love
great.
It's very, would you say, sultry, seductive?
Yeah. So it's an interesting mix. Yeah, I definitely kind of say slightly sultry and seductive with a bit of a don't mess with me.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. That's what I was going to say. It's like, you look like, come on over, baby, but don't you dare.
No, but don't touch.
Yeah, fabulous.
Really magnificent. I'm going to bring up one more before we go to the break. This one is just amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So that was at an African catwalk, and that was in London. The designer is a lovely guy. I have briefly forgotten his name because my brain is like a sieve sometimes. But the actual dress, so the collar is separate, but it's actually made out of foam.
Really?
So it's all foam, and then obviously you've got the fabric, and then the mask is a typical African mask. But it was very, very narrow, and the eyes were like slits, and I had to kind of walk up and down stairs, and I could hardly see anything. So I had to walk so slowly, and I was in 6-inch heels as well.
Oh my gosh.
And it was still kind of traipsing on the floor, so I had to kind of kick it at the same time. And it was like okay, please don't fall. And I had to do circles, and I had to go upstairs, I had to go downstairs. And then I thought I finished because I was the finale person. And then the designer was like, right, let's go around again and have pictures taken. So I then had to go around again. And he actually walked me into one of the people sat down, which I couldn't see. So I walked straight into these people and kind of collapsed on them, which was a little embarrassing.
Was this heavy? I think you mentioned the mask was heavy.
So the mask is heavy, but because the rest of it is foam, it was very light, but it was also incredibly hot. And I was just there kind of going, this is hot, this is hot, this is hot, this is very hot. Trying not to kind of pass out from the heat, because it was also underground as well, so it was really hot. And I was just, I was very hot.
Amazing.
Well, absolutely magnificent. I mean, that's a true piece of art.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was so happy when he gave it to me to wear.
That's exciting. But you, now explain to me. Is a long time ago I did modeling. A long time ago, so things have changed. But we never had a chance to wear an outfit until they gave it to you. Is that still the same case for you? I can't imagine putting that on and not practicing.
So the majority of the time, it is. So we literally arrived, got fitted for each dress that we were wearing, and then once we'd been fitted, it would all go back, and then we'd do a run through in our normal clothes, and then the show would start.
Yeah.
Occasionally, so House of Icons, which I do every year, which is during Fashion Week, they have a fitting the day before. So they do all the fittings the day before, so you get to see what you're going to wear, and you can kind of go, I'm going to wear this tomorrow. And then the next day they'll then do the walkthrough with you on the stage, and then the show will start. So sometimes you'll have the fittings beforehand, but you don't tend to get to practice in them just because obviously the designers are normally showing them for the first time. So they don't want anybody else to see them. Mm-hmm. So yes, it's very definitely still a case of you get to try it on, but you can't practice until you're actually walking down the runway, which most of the time is fine. But obviously there's the occasional one that's a little bit more awkward to walk in.
Well, it's magnificent. We have to take a break. When we come back, I'd like to touch on something that I don't know if it still exists in the modeling world, but there was a film, I think it was a documentary, about how models actually have to starve themselves, and how a lot of, what we see on the outside is not what's going on backstage or in real life. So would that be okay to touch on when we come back?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Very happy to touch on that.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you for being with us. We'll be right back on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, Fashion, Fitness, Travel, and Leisure.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diann Boehm. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diann Floyd Boehm tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diann's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diann's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter, its powerful theme that we're each of us different yet all of us the same plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diann's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diann's delightful books and much more at DiannFloydBoehm.com. Visit DiannFloydBoehm.com. That's DiannFloydBoehm.com.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello and welcome back. You're watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, Fashion, Fitness, Travel, and Leisure. I am accompanied by my co-host, Diann Floyd Boehm, and our guest, Sophie Levine. Nice to have you here.
Nice to be here.
We were just looking at some stunning photographs of you, and you are so talented and doing so many things. It's just amazing to me. So just to recap for our audience, you are an actress, a model, an equestrian, stunt double, accountant, and also the gamification piece with the avatar. You're going to have to fill me in a little bit about that because...
Yeah,
Definitely.
Well, that's just a secondhand gaming thing that I do. I just buy and sell secondhand gaming items like PlayStation, Xbox, Mega Drive, Master System, that kind of thing.
Okay, got it.
The fact that you know the difference between all the different is still impressive.
Absolutely. So before the break, we touched on the fact that you are 6'2", you put on 6'6" heeled shoes, and you wear these elaborate, beautiful designs and have to walk a runway and not fall. And I'm wondering, behind the scenes, what I've seen over the years in different documentaries is about the fact that models have to starve themselves, and that as glamorous as we think the industry is, that there's another side. So I don't know if that's true or not. I just wondered if you might speak on that.
So that did used to be the case. It's not really a thing anymore, because a lot of people have got angry about the whole thing. So there's now different things in place saying that models have to be a certain, they have to have a certain look as far as not being too skinny is concerned, so that they don't promote anorexia or anything like that. So they won't take, well, you might find the occasional person who will take it, but generally speaking, you won't get that anymore. I do have, so I've only been modeling for about 3 years. I didn't want to go into it beforehand because I had a friend who was very big boned, but she would look at all the magazines and go, I don't look like that. I need to starve myself so I can look like that. And I didn't want to be part of something that made people think that they had to starve themselves to look pretty. Because at that point, when I first thought about doing it, for 15 odd years ago, that's what she did, and she ended up in hospital because of the fact that she was trying to look like these girls in these magazines. So I only got into it 3 years ago because I could see the diversity that you get these days. So you get plus size models, you get a lovely variety of models. You don't just get skinny models. I mean, I would describe myself as athletic, not slim or skinny or anything. I would describe myself as athletic because I've got quite a bit of muscle. But yeah, I know there was an article about Victoria's Secret models where they have to constantly work on their bodies. So they're always working out, but they're still encouraged to eat healthily and maintain a certain weight. But a lot of people would still consider them to be slightly slimmer than the average model, if you like. But that's all about the way Victoria's Secret wants to have their models.
It sounds like that's about their branding and imaging. So thank you for sharing that, because I do feel, just from a personal perspective, the fashion industry and what we see in the magazines has really had an impact on me over my life. And I've always had this issue with my weight, that no matter what my weight is, I always think I'm too heavy. And, you look through the magazines and everyone looks so thin and beautiful and gorgeous. And so I just wondered if that was still the case. So it's good to hear that it's changed a lot.
Yeah, it definitely has. And also, a lot of people, there is still a bit of, sorry, lost my train of thought. Obviously, with magazines, you do still get a little bit of editing that goes on, which it's not a massive amount anymore because they're trying to get away from that. But there is still a little bit of editing. So somebody's skin that looks absolutely flawless has probably been edited a bit. Which a lot of people tend to forget. They tend to just see these absolutely flawless models who look amazing, but there will be a degree of editing which make them look like that, because they're never, I don't think I've ever seen an image that's been put in raw into a magazine.
I agree. But I am so grateful that the industry is changing, and you touched on the fact that you felt better in entering this world when you saw plus sizes and so forth. And I, as a mom, am very grateful that they started having plus size, because that's real. And people should love the shape that they have, because they've been blessed to be alive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, so good on you.
Yes. Sophie, let's move on to the fact that you're doing stunt double work. That's amazing to me. I've never met anyone who's done that. What was the catalyst to get you involved with that?
Well, obviously, I'm very into horse riding and very into acting. So the two kind of just work together. And somebody actually told me about Steve Dent's Stunts, which is in Rickmansworth, which is just above London. Well, it's still technically in London, but and I got in contact with them, and I've started training. I haven't actually yet started working on a set, but when I started, it was about a month before COVID hit, so haven't really had much of a chance on that one yet. I'm hoping to do that soon, and I've done quite a few sessions with them, and I've absolutely loved it. And I've done lots of bareback, so riding saddleless, if you don't know what bareback is. And I've been doing jumping, which is my favorite discipline. I love show jumping. That's what I used to compete a little while ago. But yeah, I get to play with swords while riding. Get to do lots of working with other people on horses, so communication. So when we're riding all in a line, like you'd see in a charge, so get to do lots of that. And yeah, it's great fun, and I can't wait to start doing some more again.
So that's exciting.
That's very exciting. So when you think about your career as an actress, are you focusing on this type of work, or are you open to other types of projects?
Oh, so I mean, I would love to do medieval stuff because it's got horses in it, but it's very difficult doing medieval being a female, because most of the medieval stuff is very male orientated, because it's normally about fighting, and obviously it was pretty much always men fighting, and you get like 3 or 4 roles that have women in it, so it's not as easy to do medieval. But I love pretty much every single genre. There's a part of me that would like to try horror, because I quite like horror movies. I kind of hope I'm not going to be the monster, but
I was going to say you're going to be the villain.
I probably would be, knowing me. I'm evil. But yeah.
So when you let's say that you get a role and you're going to need to be the stunt double for someone riding the horse. Two different things have to happen, right? One, they have to make you look similar to the person.
Yeah.
And secondly, I guess you get to work with that person so that they can become familiar with the horse, because there's this switch off, right?
So generally what happens is actors will go and have a few riding sessions with the horse that they'll be working with before they actually do it, especially if they haven't ridden before. Like the newest Cinderella, the girl who was Cinderella had never ridden before, so she learned all of that, and she did pretty much all of it herself. I think she might have done all of it. But so we have you'll laugh at this one. So we have actor horses, and then we have stunt horses.
Oh,
so
I am laughing.
So our actor horses are for the actors. So they're the ones that are safe and won't kind of go and do something. So they tend to be the ones that won't rear or fall down on command or do anything that's more than a walk, trot, canter, gallop. And then you'll have the stunt horses that will do the rearing, the bucking, bronking if it's needed, falling over. And so they'll be paired up with so an actor horse and a stunt horse will be paired together. So there'll be ones that look similar. And then obviously the stunt rider will ride the stunt horse and do the stunts in place of the actor and the actor horse.
Wow, that's amazing.
Fascinating. You know, we have another show here on this platform called Pet Psychic, Amina, and she shares with us about how animals really, they have this intuition and they have their own means of communicating. And so I'm just picturing this stunt horse and the other, hey, which one are you? I thought I was the stunt horse. I never knew any of that. That's really fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I didn't know about it until I started doing the stunt riding myself, and I was like, wait, what? They have horses have stunt horses? Have their own stunt doubles? What is going on?
That's amazing. Amazing.
It really is. So no fear at all in terms of doing these stunts?
Well, I've yet to do the falling off bit, but it's something I'd quite like to try. I know it sounds very bizarre saying that I want to try to fall off.
That's interesting.
Do they have something there that you fall into or onto?
When you're learning, you fall into mats or onto mats, and then obviously you're not going to fall into an actual brick wall. It'll be a brick wall lookalike, but it'll be slightly padded. So for when you're actually doing the stunts. But yeah, it's more the falling on the ground is the issue.
I bet.
It depends on the horse, because if you've got a very large 18-hand horse, you've got to fall a lot further than if you're on a 12-2 pony.
I think the pony would be the one for me.
What I love about you speaking about all this is, you shared your incredible fashion, and you're obviously very athletic, and you mentioned that. But for anyone who's listening that would love to learn more about stunt horsing, they have to stay fit, correct? You have to be in good shape, right?
You have to have a certain amount of fitness, because obviously you have in acting, you'll see a variety of different. In movies, you'll see a variety of different size people.
Yeah, that's true.
Riding, so you do need to have a level of fitness. I'm always doing stuff, so I'm always going to be a bit more fit than somebody who only does riding once or twice a week, but they're still fit enough to ride. So it's kind of yes, you do have to be fit, but you don't necessarily have to be fit like you would if you're a marathon runner. Like that'd be something that you'd have to constantly train at.
Right, I see.
Every day.
But in your stunting, it's good you're taking classes on how to do it, because you have to know how to fall so that you don't break your back, right?
Oh yeah, no.
That's a level of fitness mentally.
Right, you're right.
I hadn't thought about that one. I see where you're coming from on that. Yeah, so you have to, be mentally. What's the word? Mentally prepared to fall off, I suppose. And obviously, you get people who get dragged as well, so they tend to have a thing attached to their ankle and leg. Obviously, it'll be a safe way of doing it. But they've been trained to do that, and they've been trained how to be dragged. So you'll see most of the time they'll be rolling from side to side to stop the friction from getting too bad. Because if you're obviously just skidding along on your back, it can be. That's just one long skid.
Wow, that's something to think about, right? I'd be rolling back and forth to make sure.
Sophie, what do you do to stay in shape? Do you practice yoga so you're flexible when you fall off, or are you a gymnastic person?
Because I tend to kind of I don't tend to stop with all the stuff that I do, so I don't have a huge amount of time to do a lot of stuff. But before COVID, I was always going to the gym. I was going to the gym pretty much every day. I did mostly weight training because I'm really not a fan of running. But I'm doing a lot more riding now since COVID, so that's kind of taken over. And obviously, when you're horse riding, it's pretty much a full body. You're working your arms because they can be strong. You're working your legs if they're not. You have to constantly squeeze them to keep them going. There's obviously a lot of core work when you're doing stirrupless stuff. So it's definitely a full body workout when you're horse riding. So I suppose, horse riding and walking and running around when I'm doing my gaming stuff.
Amazing.
I took 2 riding lessons, and the horse was magnificent, so beautiful, but I was really terrified, and I knew the horse could tell that I was terrified. So then I paid for, I think, 8 lessons, but I never went back after that. So I have so much respect for you, because I think it's very difficult to do. I think it's an incredible workout, but you have to have a certain sense of presence and confidence and connection with the horse.
Yeah, so I've got my own horse. He's a Shire Cross thoroughbred, who I tend to have a very good connection with. Well, do have a very good connection with. I've got a very good connection with that little grey pony that we were talking about earlier, just because I've done most of the work with him. A lot of the time, so I will get put on when I go to the stunt riding, I get put on random horses as well. So they're horses that I've never got on before, never met, never touched, and I just kind of hop on board. So there's to a certain extent, you do have to have a trust, but then you've got horses who are used to having random people hopping on them, hopping off them. Like at riding schools, for instance, they'll have a random person getting on them 2 times a day. At some yards, it's 3 or 4 times a day. But yeah, so there's a certain amount of trust. Obviously, if you're doing liberty work, there's an insane amount of trust that you have to have, because the horse they don't have hold of the horse at all. So the horse is just listening to what they're doing. Yeah.
You mentioned, did you say liberty work?
Liberty work. So that's when the horses are cantering, lying down without any head collar or lead rope or anything like that. It's literally just the guy or girl in the middle with normally a long whip, just to help show direction. And it's incredible to watch, because there's a few people who have about 7 or 8 horses that are all doing the same thing or different things at the same time, all free, all loose, and they're all listening to him and doing what he says, because they have such a strong bond with him. So it depends on what discipline you're doing and what you're doing. Like show jumping, you have to have a certain amount of trust, because you're aiming them at big jumps. Cross country, it's even more important to have a good connection, because you're taking them to very solid jumps that nowadays do fall down because they're on pins, but they used to never fall down. If a horse crashed into a jump at full speed, there was a potential for it to have a really bad injury. About 5-6 years ago. Nowadays, they've got pins, so they break if there's too much impact, which is obviously helping keep the horses safe, and the riders, obviously. Let's not forget the riders.
That's good news.
That's interesting. Very interesting what goes on behind the scenes.
The
But the camera doesn't see, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of camera, we have some other beautiful photographs I'd like to bring up. This one's really very hot.
Wow.
That water was freezing cold.
Why did they do that to models?
Freezing
cold water.
Well, I'm actually going to blame myself for that, because that was a photo shoot that I wanted to do with a new photographer who I'd never met before, and I'd seen some of his work, and I really wanted to do a bit of work with him. And I've always wanted to do a photo shoot in water. It was a really sunny, hot, boiling hot day. I thought, the water will be like relatively warmish. Of course, what I was kind of forgetting was that it's running water, so it's not got a chance to be warm. So I slightly regretted that, but we got a lot of really nice pictures out of it, that being one of them. But he's a brilliant photographer. He's called Graham Hobbs, and he's absolutely fantastic. I'd highly recommend him to anybody who wants to have photos done.
That's stunning. Stunning. Beautiful.
Thank you.
We've got one more.
Oh, nice. The couple.
So that was at Cannes Film Festival. Not last year, but the year before, because last year it didn't happen because of the lovely COVID. So that design is by Eva Moscovich, who lives in London. She's a fantastic designer. I love everything she designs. And I've done a few things. I did a photo shoot with her in London, and then I said that I was going to Cannes. She's like, take this.
She gave you that for Cannes. Wow.
Yeah. Obviously,
nice.
I had to send it back, but I was kind of like, should I just pretend like I lost it?
Exactly. Well, it looks stunning on you.
It was absolutely lovely. I loved it to bits.
And the gentleman you're with?
So he is another model who I met that day, who name slightly escapes me. It's Kadar something.
Yeah, that's okay.
I've only met him twice. Once that day when I spent about 5-10 minutes, and then at a show where I spent another about 5-10 minutes. So it was not a huge amount of time to talk and chat and stuff.
Yeah, but the camera looks like y'all connected really well, and you would never know it. So did they have a fan going so that it showed how the dress?
So that was actually near the docks. So there was just a nice little natural wind going on.
A natural wind, okay. Because that's hard to get that sheerness coming through, and that's a great shot, isn't it? Yeah.
One of my smallest pairs of heels.
I was going to get onto you for that. They looked a little smaller. What were they, like 7 inches instead of 10?
They were only 3 inches. I was kind of looking at all my heels. I've got about 20 odd pairs of heels. And I was like, that's the only one that's going to work with this dress.
All of you, including our listeners who love spikes, my mother loved spike heels. She was like in her 70s before she'd give up her spike heels. And she said, well, the problem is I'm so used to walking in them. If I go lower, I'm going to fall. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, for everyone else, it'd be just the opposite.
Right.
Do you find the balance hard when you go from super...
I'm quite easily. I adapt quite easily.
Okay.
I mean, I personally not a massive fan of kitten heels. So those silver ones are probably the smallest I'll go, just because I don't really like having anything smaller, unless they're flats.
That's funny.
I have
the flats.
All right, what does everyone have on their feet right now, Diann?
I have on sandals and flats. I'm sorry.
I'm barefoot. Sophie?
I'm wearing riding boots.
I love that. Well, why not?
You are.
Yes, it's fabulous. It's a shame we can't.
Riding boots are gorgeous, by the way. There's a whole fashion just in riding boots. You'll have to come back and share your fashion of boots with us one day.
Yeah, maybe not these ones. They're a little bit old. These ones. I have to get some nice Fairfax and Favor boots.
Sounds good.
Well, we'd love to have you come back and hear all about what you're doing. But before we leave, we were talking backstage about some of the things that you're doing. And it seems like to have an acting career and modeling, there's all these other things that have to take place behind the scenes. And it's just one thing depends on the other. So any ask for our audience, any way that our audience can help you.
So I only need one more credit before I can get back onto Spotlight. So anybody that's got any acting things that they need that's paid. I've done music videos. Most recent one was with Nay Smalls and M. Huncho. Absolutely amazing, great fun. Modeling, basically anything that's paid.
Payment is good.
Money is good.
The credits don't count unless they're paid.
That's right.
And what's the best way for people to get in? Oh, sorry. What's the best way, Sophie, for people to get in touch with you?
Probably via my Instagram, which is www.instagram.com/levine.sophie. You can also get hold of me by my Facebook page, which again is just Sophie Levine. And I'm currently trying to get my website back up and running because there was a bit of an issue with it. So that's not around at the moment. But yeah, so probably suggest Instagram over anything else.
Okay, Instagram it is. And for those who are listening on the radio, Sophie's name is spelled Sophie, last name Levine. And you can find her on Instagram. But it's last name, period, first name. So it's been a pleasure having you here. And seriously, we'd love to have you come back because you're doing so many exciting things. I love the photographs and the stunt double work. It's amazing.
Completely.
I've had such a fantastic time talking to both of you, and I can't stop smiling.
So I want to remind our audience that in case you tuned in the middle of the interview, please hop on over to our YouTube channel, Dr. Jacalyn LLC. There is a playlist, fashion, fitness, travel, and leisure, and you can watch our shows for this program there. And of course, all of our shows, we have 16 shows a week. You can find them all there. Please subscribe. We would love that. So thank you again, Sophie, and thank your employer for letting you be on the interview with us.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you again. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Bye,
Thank you.
Sophie.
Bye.
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 Oh, she's so lovely and beautiful and just filled with joy.
And so talented in so many areas.
So talented. I know. It's incredible. And she's doing so many different things and doing well at all of them. So I love to see that. Goes back to what you talked about earlier on the show today, the other show, A Better You, about believing that you can do things instead of, what I can't do. And I think that's everything that Sophie's doing. It all really goes together if you think about it. But she's following her passion, following her heart. So I'm hoping if there are people out there who are able to help her, whether they're listening now or watching now, or they listen or watch later on YouTube or Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, just please reach out to her on Instagram.
Absolutely. And you won't be sorry. Well, she is very photogenic, isn't she?
Stunning. So this one here, I have to bring this back up again. Look at that.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah. And not everybody can pull that dress off.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
the look,
incredible.
just absolutely stunning.
Yeah,
And this
yes.
one too.
I was just getting ready to say that about the water one. And actually it fits really well. She said she liked medieval. And I was like, oh, that really works with medieval look too,
It's true.
So.
And, when I think of medieval, maybe I'm wrong, but wasn't Game of Thrones, isn't that medieval?
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah. There are a lot of, females in there. That was a phenomenal series.
Show, right.
And then this one.
Love that one. And the sword, it just sets that whole look.
And I love the way the top of her body is turned one way, and her torso is straight. So it's really.
She looks like she's ready to strike. I love it. Don't you mess with me. This sword's coming out. And by the way, check out my outfit.
That's right. And check out the way that it, what's the word that it fits my. What's the
physique?
Word? Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
So, Diann, that's a wrap for today. I'm going to solo you. And again, just let people know how we can get in touch with you.
Okay. Well, I always love being on the show with you. Thank you so much. And everyone, my books are for everyone to make you feel good inside, even though I've written them for children. You can reach me at Diann, Diann, Floyd, Boehm.com, DiannFloydBoehm.com, and all my books are right there. Thank you so much.
And we always encourage people to sign up for Diann's newsletter.
Oh, yes.
Sign up for her newsletter, and she will give you a signed copy of one of her books. So
absolutely. You
just have to know how to spell her name. There's no E on Diann, and there's two N's. So on the radio, Diann, Floydboehm. Thank you so much. Do you know when I first met you, I could not pronounce your name at all, and I kept saying it the wrong way. And all of a sudden, somehow I figured out how to say the name because someone else was saying it incorrectly. But no, that's not how you say it. So,
well, my last name is my husband's name, so it took me a while to get used to it too.
Well, it's a beautiful name.
Thank you.
It really is. So.
And my maiden name, Floyd, that's there, it actually is from Wales, and Floyd was in Welsh. It's a double L. So when they came to America, it turned into an F. So Diann Floyd Boehm. So there's a little bit of history.
There it is. There's a little bit of history. So, okay.
Always a story to tell.
Well, you're a great storyteller. So thank you very much.
Well,
and
you have a great day.
Thank you. I think I have 4 shows left today. So I'm just going to let people know what's coming for the rest of the day. And let's see. We have coming up very soon, I have a story to tell that is with Dino, and I am not going to be able to say his last name at all, so I apologize when he comes on. But he's had an incredible transformation. We'll have some incredible pictures to share with you. He's a coach. And we also have Pet Psychic Amina. Amina is off today, so I will be running the Pet Psychic show. And with us today is Dottie Boone and Trish Robichaud. And at, let's see, Stories of Hope, Inspiration, Overcoming Adversity, we're having Trish back again. Trish has a really incredible personal story that she's going to share with us. And then we have the Variety Show with co-host Lori Mendelson, and our guest is Andrew Mondia, and he is an author, a speaker, and he's also a comedian. So we look forward to that.
Some great shows coming up. You always have wonderful people on your shows.
Well,
I'm going to check them out for sure.
I'm
today.
very blessed. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'm going to say goodbye to everyone and go grab something to eat quickly and change again. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you again to Sophie for being here. And thank you to Diann. We'll see you again, hopefully later today. Bye.
Bye.